All right, Gamecock fans, let's get it started again. Let's talk about frustrations. And Roosters having a frustrated morning too. My computer started just like South Carolina's football team yesterday. I got 10 minutes into doing this video on my computer and everything shuts down on me. We got a game started yesterday and it seemed like everything shut down on our offense again. The offensive line, not good. We beat this horse. When do you look at making a change? And this ain't no pure negative video. I'm going to get into a lot of positive things that I saw in the football game yesterday and some things I'm pretty happy about. But I got frustrated with my computer. I made a change. I went to my iPad. So when do we make a change offensively that's going to show us that we have improvement in our offensive line? I don't have the answer to that question. But we keep hearing the same thing. Well, we got stuff to work on. We got to get better. We got to improve. Look, I'm not going to go crazy frustrated on what the game yesterday. It wasn't what I expected, but the final results was kind of where I expected it. I don't think anybody expected us for Corey Swain to get 2 punt returns for touchdowns. I don't think anyone expected South Carolina to come out and look absolutely atrocious to start the game. Now, I didn't expect South Carolina to come out, run a bunch of exotic plays. I didn't even think Lenore Sellers would get a design run. We talked about it over on my buddy Dealmaker did a live show Friday night. I'm like, they're not going to design run Lenore's against South Carolina State. You can't. Just because us as fans, want to see a certain type of product on the field, and we think we should go out with a gunslinger mentality because a lot of teams do this, and we want to put up big offensive numbers. Dude, you can't get your quarterback hurt against South Carolina State by running design runs. So I did not expect that. Well, it's frustrating the offensive line can't block. Yes, it is. But we also tried to maintain the pocket longer and get more rhythm with Lenore's throwing the football. We also keep banging our head against the wall or trying to run up the middle. It doesn't seem like our guys can move anybody up the middle. Then you know what you do? You run the ball on the perimeter. I'm no offensive coordinator, but I can figure that out. How do you open up the middle of your offense and the defense to make those runs work? You get the ball on the perimeter. You run some outside zone runs. Do something to get everybody out of the middle of the damn football field. Excuse me, Lord. It is Sunday morning, and I do not. I said my prayers this morning. I said I wasn't going to get frustrated. But right now I'm very frustrated with why we keep beating our head on certain things. I get it. I understand it. Every South Carolina fan is frustrated with it. You don't want to put much on tape for Vanderbilt coming to town. Now, Vanderbilt goes out and beats Virginia Tech 44-20, but Virginia Tech was winning that game at halftime, and just Vanderbilt took over in the second half. They had their struggles in the first half, too. Don't think they didn't. They were losing the football game. So let's not all of a sudden look at a end score and think that Vanderbilt did anything more impressive than what South Carolina did against Virginia Tech. They really didn't. They played a great second half just like we did. I want to talk about offensive production. Well, we didn't get any rushing yards, and Lenore Sellers' passing yards wasn't 300 yards like we expected. He didn't play the whole game. First and foremost, you didn't design run him. And a lot of people, let's talk about this. 2 punt returns is 2 offensive possessions where you could have more yards, maybe score more points, more passing yards. We saw Lenore's come in the second half and just walk down the field, and basically South Carolina scored at will. Could we have done that more? Yes. But there were some head-scratching things in there, too. Why do you bring Aaron Nolan in late in the game and all he does is hand the football off? I mean, hell, you could have left Doty in if that was going to be the case. I just that type of stuff, mentality was kind of head-scratching to me. Why? But that's simple little shit that is meaningless down the road, except I would have liked to seen what Aaron Nolan can do when he throws the football. Would have been kind of sweet to see at least 1 or 2 passes. But that would have just been icing on the cake. We won the game. We've won 8 out of our last 9 football games. Now, how many Gamecock fans have been through so many frustrating seasons that would have begged for that? We would have begged to be that. But the frustration is we started out first game, we struggled. Same thing last year. This is almost identical to last year if you think about it, guys. Almost identical. And I think that may be frustrating too because your expectations are all the hype in the offseason, talking about it, all the players, they're more mature now, they have more experience. You would think that South Carolina starts the season better. and in a different manner. We struggled with ODU last year in the first game. Struggled with Virginia Tech this year in the first game. Come out and defense has to basically really is what took over in the Kentucky game to get us that win. Here, defense, special teams takes over, pulls the game basically out of control. I mean, our defense played well. They still only gave up 3. Our starting defense has only given up field goals. No touchdowns this year. Think about that, guys. Now, they did get South Carolina State got a touchdown late. We had all the freshmen out there. You could see them all out there. All the young guys, new guys, they were all out there playing late in that game. That was not our starting defense. Kilgore was banged up, didn't really play. Cisse got banged up early. He was out of the game. I think I've heard reports that it was a upper body. We'll see how that works. Judge Collier did not play. So these aren't our starters that are out there playing against South Carolina State. We missing 2 of our starting DBs from the start, right? So I know we got one. This is a focus of all South Carolina fans. A focus is that offensive line. Well, a lot of other big teams struggled the same way yesterday as South Carolina did. We saw it in LSU, Georgia, all the games that I watched. There were some teams that should have blowed out the teams that they played. Now, that doesn't affect South Carolina in any other way. I'm just saying we were not the only ones that played a bad football game yesterday. Or at least, we didn't play a bad football game. We didn't play up to expectations football. What South Carolina should be able to do against a South Carolina State. And give South Carolina State some credit. Their defense played well. They came out with a good game plan. They were kind of beating us on some middle pass plays there. Their receivers did a good job of catching the ball and holding on to the football. So you got to give credit where credit is due. When people make plays, they make plays. Virginia Tech made plays against us on some wonderful 50-50 balls. Can't take away when a team makes a play. They have players too. But we know what the frustration is. So what do? We drink our coffee. We take a breath. Said my prayers this morning. Thank God that He gave me another beautiful day here on earth. I'm going to get my frustrations out today. And I'm going to move on this week. And I'm focusing on what's coming this week against Vanderbilt. I'm going to look at Vanderbilt again. I didn't really get to catch the second half of that game yesterday, so I want to see what happened in the second half. I know what happened in the first half because I did watch that. Florida losing to South Florida. There's a lot of frustrated football fans that are in worse shape than us, guys. But that doesn't mean anything. We want to be better. We got to improve. Oscar Attaway got his first touchdown yesterday. Dre Jacobs got his first touchdown of the season. Murph played really well, started yesterday. Young wide receiver. Really young wide receiver, and I think he's going to be a big part of that wide receiving core in the future too. Sometimes kids just have talent. You don't keep them off the field. I think fans just want South Carolina to establish some type of running game. And let's just remember, it's a lot like last year. I know that's frustrating because we should be more improved this year. Well, we did have a nice running back named Rocket Sanders last year. Not saying anything about our running back room, but Rocket did well. We also took half of our game plan out yesterday by not design running Lenore Sellers. That's a big part of your game plan right there. If you think about it, that is a major part of what was our rushing last year and our game plan. You didn't do that yesterday because there was no need to get Lenore's hurt. And I've seen some comments towards Lenore's, and some of you fans, y'all need to chill the hell out. And maybe y'all are young people talking to young people, but it's just stupid. Some of the comments that are being made when there's when post-game press conferences and stuff with these players, because you're frustrated because South Carolina's not meeting your expectations, or a player didn't meet your expectations. You don't know the game plan, dude. You wasn't sitting in the offensive game plan room that sat there and said, look, this is what we want to do with Sellers. We want to kind of get him established on some quick passes, and we saw that in the second half, and everybody was frustrated. While we're doing this dink and dunk. Well, you know what that does? That pulls all the DBs up so you can hit the one over the top. And what happened? Lenore Sellers over the top to Jacobs, touchdown. You sucked the DBs up with those dink and dunks, but you were still getting positive yardage. It's an extension of your run game. This coaching staff's not going to run what we as fans say is our offense. We're not going to run a Tennessee offense, and that's what you're looking for. It's not going to happen. You might as well go be a damn Tennessee fan and get the fuck out of the Gamecock country, if that's what you want. It's not that. We're not running that. And that's not going to work out well for Tennessee before the season's over with. Y'all wait and see. They haven't really done anything that amazed anyone either. And they're giving up a lot of points on defense, and we're not. So get that mentality out of your head. This team is a team that is a rounded team that's going to play offense, they're going to play defense, they're going to use special teams. This special teams team is better than it was last year. Way better than anybody expected it to be going into this year. That was a question. So let's just put it where it's at, where it should be. The frustration is with the offensive line. Let's just put it that way. Don't talk about the game plan, because what Shula's doing was nothing that they wanted to put out there for Vanderbilt to see, or Kentucky to see, or LSU to see, or Alabama to see, or Oklahoma to see. It was to beat South Carolina State. Remember that. The game plan was a stripped down version. Think about this as a poker player. Do you play poker? And people look for your tendencies to figure out whether you maybe have a good hand or a bad hand. South Carolina has done everything to not show what they really want to be. And you can tell me I'm making an excuse, but I played football. I know for a fact when you play a lesser team, you don't put it all out there and you don't take chances with your stars of getting injured, which is another reason Nick Harbor was out early. Dylan Stewart got out early. We got to see Demon Clowney play. We got to see Des U do some good things. We got to see some young DBs get out there and learn by not doing good things. But they also did some good things. That's coaching, man. And if you don't have a coaching mentality, you can't understand that type of thing when it comes to coaching, then I'm sorry for you. You have a fan mentality and you don't really know football. You're just a fan that wants to ride along as long as the team is fucking winning, and you're the first one to leave the stadium if we're losing. Just remember, guys, we were in this same position last year. Worked out pretty well for us. Don't show everybody what you got. Nobody ever does that. You just don't. You just can't put it out there for every coach to see what South Carolina's game plan is going to be. This defense is good, and anytime when you have a defense that is as good as South Carolina has, you have a chance to win football games. South Carolina's defense was way better than Virginia Tech's last week. We look at the offensive frustration part of that game, but it was way better. Vandy's going to play a better defense in South Carolina than they played in Virginia Tech. Remember, we only gave up 2 field goals to Virginia Tech. Vandy gave up more points than that, and touchdowns. Their defense ain't as good as ours. I'll put our special teams up against theirs. I guarantee you ours is better. Let's put our frustration where it is. It's on the offensive line. There's no need to beat up everything else around the football team. Offensive line has to get better. The coaching staff knows that. Shane Beamer knows that. I know that. You know that. We all know that. We're frustrated. Why is Teasley still coaching the offensive line and we're still having these struggles? What's the mental breakdowns? Why can't we blow some of these defenses off the line with our big guys, our talented guys? I don't know what they're being asked to do. I don't know the blocking schemes. I really don't. I don't know the communication that goes on during the week to the offensive lineman. But I know if there's game film out there and you're showing it to them. I mean, I know they said Josiah got a little banged up early, and they switched out a lot of the offensive linemen. They had a lot of young offensive linemen in that football game late last night, and they seemed to do better, right? Well, also South Carolina State's offensive line was worn down, fighting our big boys. But the young guys did do good, and you kind of saw Howell get some nice runs. Fuller came in, got some nice runs. Augusta got in for a little bit. It just, the later in the game, you were able to salt it away with the run. Beamer wanted to get out of there. Beamer wanted to get the players out of there. Everybody wanted to get back and get rest and get all started this morning, because they do on Sundays. They're not like us to wake up on a Sunday morning and go, well, what am I going to do today? I'll read the Sunday paper. I'll go take my shit. Maybe I'll go outside and smoke a cigarette. Maybe I'll go walk around the park. No, they got to get right back at it. They're right back in the film room. They're right back in practice on Sunday. They're right there discussing everything that happened in the game the night before. They don't have our luxuries, folks. So let's cut them a little bit of a break. We know we're frustrated. Let's see what happens this week against Vandy. I'll guarantee you the playbook looks a lot different than it did. But I'll tell you this, they got a lot more film on Vandy because Vandy had to pull all the rabbits out of the hat to beat Virginia Tech yesterday. Think about it. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Hey, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Peace out from the Rooster Man. Holla.